No problem. As always with all the candidates, we usually kind of kick off with that very basic question: who are you? What do you do? And can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, as you know, I've already introduced me. My name is David McGuinness. I'm a county councillor in the Mulhuddard electoral area, which would be the western side of the Blanchardstown area. I'm a local young man, born and raised in Corduff, teaching in Corduff and Riversdale Community College. I'm a homeowner locally in Mulhuddard. In Tyrrellstown, recently bought a home. I'm a young father, and I'm up for a re-election again after spending 5 years on the local county council. I'm the youngest county councillor in Fingal. I'm currently 27. I was elected at 22, and this re-election after 5 years, I suppose, is an opportunity for me to get back out into the various different communities that I've been working over the past 5 years, re-engage with people, see where they want the priority for their local area to go into the next number of years, maybe recap on some of the work that I've been doing over that time, and use it as an experience that I can actually take to the next council with me to raise issues on their behalf like I've always done.
Okay. Fianna Fáil. Why Fianna Fáil? Were you always were you kind of brought up in the Fianna Fáil tradition, or was it just a question when you were kind of looking around in terms of politics and that?
Well, my family were very heavily involved in our community up there in Corduff. My family have always been involved in the running of the local football club, and still remain so. I knew my local county councillor at the time very well. Margaret Richardson would have helped her. Brian Lenihan was a young TD from about 96 onwards in my local community, and in Corduff, I mean, for a good number of years it was a marginalised community with a deficit of public facilities. And what I would have seen emerge over my community in that time was the National Aquatic Centre, the Institute of Technology Blanchardstown, upgrades to our road infrastructure, Corduff Sports Centre, and they were on my immediate horizons. And I just simply knew that it was my Fianna Fáil representatives and Brian Lenihan and Margaret Richardson that were involved in those issues and initiatives. So it was a very natural progression. I didn't join the party until I went to college. I made a conscious decision in my adult life that Fianna Fáil was for me, for the reason that I felt it was straight down the middle with a left touch in it. Now, not everyone in Fianna Fáil is left orientated, but for me, and certainly I would be of that middle to left kind of variety, and I felt that Fianna Fáil could cater for that. And I suppose of the other political parties, I just never felt that they were for me. Okay. For various reasons, but I don't want to go slagging anybody off.
No. But that's fair enough, because we've asked all the people, and I just say, like, often it can be a family reason that it was like in the family, or as you just said there.
I suspect they probably turned a few eyes when I decided to contest the elections when I first left college for Fianna Fáil. But I definitely know that I generate a support base outside of what would be the Fianna Fáil fold. I've no doubt about it, particularly in the last the by-election where I increased the vote to 22%. Fianna Fáil at the time were on 9% in Dublin. So I've no doubt that, yes, I'm a Fianna Fáil candidate, but I'm also a candidate from Blanchardstown where people can support me on that basis. And I've always, and thankfully I've always had, because I've never had a difficult time with people, even in the difficult times the party faces. Well,
I suppose that would be the next question, given, Fianna Fáil and going around the doorsteps, how's that been?
It was very difficult in 2009 when I was first elected. There was a lot of confusion about the general state of the national picture, and the locals were being dumped in on top of that. The 2011 general election was horrific in many ways, but we returned a seat in Brian Lenihan, and that was difficult. But then within 6 months I contested the by-election after the untimely death of Brian Lenihan, and may he rest in peace. But there was no difficulty in that election. To be honest, it came right down to the wire, and if I had have got maybe 300 or 400 votes, I reckon I would have equally topped the poll, because at the time Labour were in around 700 ahead of me. So I came second, they came first. So it was a really tight election, and it was down to the fact that I believe people felt I made a good account of myself. I made a case that the government didn't need another backbencher. I made a case that the government themselves probably weren't showering themselves in glory in what they said 6 months previous.